Hi everyone, this is Chanel,
I'm Anne-Marie Gaidosh.
and welcome to Sweet 15.
I'm just waiting on my passport. Passing by the days, wishing I could fast forward. Practicing my accent, manifesting world tours.
Recently, the suite has been graced with the presence of musicians from every possible genre, from pop to country to alternative, and now to rap. Hailing from down under in Newcastle, Australia, we are joined by Conflikt, a 19-year-old rapper inspired by the ever-evolving hip-hop landscape. A true lyricist, Conflikt uses his music and platforms as a form of self-expression and social commentary. Here today to discuss his latest single, Passport, we have Conflikt in the house. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell the listeners what they should know about you.
For sure. So I'm Conflikt. I first got into music when I was 14. I released my first song. It was pretty bad. But after that, I took a bit of a break and I only started getting back into it in 2022. So ever since then, I've kind of been full steam ahead, and I've been just working and working, trying to level up my skills, and been doing shows, like
Mhm.
around the state and everything, interstate as well. So yeah, just been trying to grow my audience and grow as a person as well, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the moment you're 19, but like you said, you've been pretty much doing this since 14. What was kind of
Yeah.
like the beginning of your calling into like creating music?
Just I guess like my family is not like a musical family at all, but
Mm,
my dad was like always showing me new music and stuff. And it was, I guess, just yeah, being put onto new music constantly, and
mm,
then just finding a love for hip hop like through my dad showing me, classic albums and all that. And like I've always loved English as well. So, it kind of makes sense that, I fell in love with the art form. And it's also like wanting to push myself further and see how I can better
mm.
myself as an artist and trying to like level up rhyme schemes and everything. It's just yeah, it's a fun challenge for me as well.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you mentioned you don't really come from this musical family, and I know it's a really intense process kind of creating and writing music. So how did you
Yeah.
teach that to yourself and get involved in it if you didn't have much to go off of?
Uh, I don't know. I've like when it comes to other stuff like in school and that, I was always like
Mm,
pretty focused in. So when I started to try to like write my own lyrics and everything, I would just spend like hours just like had a little notebook and I was just, writing and writing away. It was like all pretty terrible, like but it's I guess getting over that hurdle of being bad at the start so that you can
mhm.
actually, see some progress in the future.
Yeah. And I've seen in quite a few of your musics, like you have people either featured on them that you're working and rapping with. So how do you also
Yeah.
like kind of like build this community of like artists just like yourself?
I guess it's just reaching out to people, like letting them
Yeah.
know that you like, their stuff, and another like good form of like finding connections is
Mm,
TikTok. I found heaps of artists through TikTok, and
yeah.
I just they reached out to me, I reached out to them, say, we like each other's music, let's work, and it kind of just yeah arises from there.
Yeah. I mean, even with like what we see, like you have quite a bit of music out. Like you said, you've been doing
Yeah,
this for some time, but like you can also see like the grind of what you're doing through your music and everything like that too. So
yeah.
it's really impressive. It's really impressive.
Okay, and so before we started recording this interview, hot off the presses, we
Mhm.
found out that Conflict's real name is Jackson. So we want to know, kind of where did your stage name come from? What is the
Yeah,
inspiration?
yeah. So when I made my first song, I didn't have a name or anything. That was like my biggest like struggle trying to find a name. I literally just picked up a dictionary and I was going through and I was trying to find words that kind of suited, what I wanted to portray. And
Mm,
ironically enough, I chose conflict, like for the purpose of like I've always felt internally conflicted, I guess. Like
mm,
I'm very indecisive as a person, so like making decisions can be hard for me and like, sometimes my heart tells me this but tells me that. So I always, kind of had a bit of like a I don't know, like two little people like stretching a rope in my brain, saying,
yeah.
oh, this or that. So I thought, well, it's quite fitting, and yeah, I chose conflict
With a K, not a C. Just
with a K, with a K. Well, I had to, differentiate myself, and I was looking online, and there was quite a few with the C, so I was like, well, I'll use a K instead.
I love it.
Stand out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you also talked about like how your father kind of introduced you to like some of the music that he was interested in, and then you also kind of found your own kind of journey with the music. So what are
yeah.
some artists that kind of like inspire you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'm inspired by like everything at the moment. But if I had to like dial down on a few artists, it'd definitely
Mhm.
be J. Cole. He's like a massive one for me. Saba, I love Saba. He's probably like top five for me. Mac Miller, that's yeah,
Yeah.
like stylistically, I take inspiration from him.
Mm.
Um, I've been listening to a lot of Teaser Touchdown lately. I love Teaser. And yeah, just he's an artist. Lil Kana from the UK, from
Yeah.
Australia, JK47. He's like one of my favorite rappers from here. I got to meet him like a while back, and such a nice guy.
Oh,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's it.
And then you had to choose one to make a collab with. Who would it be?
That's such a tough question. Oh,
That's what we're
You
here
must choose
for.
one.
We're asking the tough questions the people want to know.
yeah. Honestly, as much as I love him all, I gotta say J. Cole, like he kills every feature he does.
Ah,
Yeah, it's pretty
you
obvious
won.
choice.
You won. I don't know if this was a competition or a test, but either way, you won. Oh,
You
go
kind of
ahead.
have to.
Yeah, honestly.
Nice. And so we know you're from Australia, so I want to know what's the
Yeah,
hip hop scene or music scene like there, and if you draw any inspiration from any Australian performers.
yeah. It's quite different. Like I've noticed, like from the scene, over there, and even like the UK,
Mm,
it is kind of similar to the UK a bit. Like at the moment, like it's a lot of like really cool drill artists coming out of Australia, like 1-4, who've been
mm,
killing it. Obviously we got Kid Leroy, who's been killing it. Um, but it's kind of different. Like there's starting to be a bit of a change in the scene,
mm,
like taking more inspiration from the UK and America. Like a lot more melodic stuff coming out, which is super sick to see. Because
okay.
in the past it's been a lot of, I guess, like boom bap kind of grime stuff.
Yeah,
So it's cool to see, picking up a bit more melodic stuff, and I try to incorporate that into some of my newer releases, which I have unreleased and all.
yeah.
But yeah, that's been good.
Okay.
Good to see it
Yeah.
evolve.
Yeah, and even talking about that, like a lot of hip hop and rap kind of it's like lies heavily within like the lyrics. So what is like
Yeah,
kind of your creative process when it comes to like songwriting and like getting an idea down on paper and then producing it into music?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, usually, sometimes I do start with the lyrics, but a
Mm,
lot of the time I hear a beat first, and that's what
mm,
shapes what I write about. So, like,
yeah.
my process is usually like skimming through like heaps and heaps of beats until I find one
Mm,
that's kind of fitting what my mood is at that point in time. Like if I'm
yeah.
feeling a bit, down, I'll choose one that's a bit more sad. If I'm feeling pretty happy, I'll choose one that's happy, and then I kind of, go from that. I almost, try to feel what the beat is saying, and then try to
Mm,
complement that, and yeah, bring my own stuff into that beat.
yeah. Okay, nice. And then now with the passport coming out, like what was kind of like
Yeah.
your feeling? What was the feeling or the beat that you were that got you for the song?
Yeah, I was listening to the beat and it was just like it felt like it was taking me away a bit. And I had just got my passport the day beforehand. So I was
Ah,
already feeling like in a good mood and I was like, well, it makes sense. Um so I kind of wanted to capture that feeling of, when you're waiting for your passport to arrive,
mm,
it's like it's like a ticket away to, go anywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was kind of feeling like trapped. I was feeling a bit trapped in, the city and that, and
Mm.
just wanting to, get away from stuff. I still haven't traveled anywhere with it yet, but I'm planning to this year. So that was the kind of vibe.
Conflict.
That was actually one of my questions was, do you have a passport?
Yeah.
Because I recently discovered
Yes.
that 52% of Americans do not have a passport, but 48% do. So I was
Yeah.
curious,
Wow.
like where are you gonna go with your passport? Where's your first trip?
Definitely to the States. My stepmom's actually American, so
Oh,
yeah, I'll probably
nice.
be heading over end of the year. So, yeah.
Yes, come visit us in New York.
Chanel, you're in
Yeah, that'd be
Paris.
great.
I know, but I'll be in New York. Conflict, let me know when you'll head there and I'll come too, okay?
All right, too easy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a deal.
And you also mentioned, like in your song, you mentioned going from Sydney to New
To
York,
New York,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to seeing in New York?
Well, I've only been once, and that was 2019, and we only spent the day. So I think this time I'd love to check out like one of the like Broadway shows. I feel like that would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
But also just like exploring, know, just I don't know, more stuff and just seeing what there is to offer. Do you have any recommendations at all?
Don't come. It's a terrible place.
No, no. We actually had a friend about your age actually, from New
Yeah,
Zealand who came to New York for the first time. And Emery met him and took him to a bunch of places.
I wouldn't say a
So
bunch
yeah.
of places. I took him to get pizza. We got pizza.
yeah, so we recommend you
It
to
was
get some
very
New York slice
cool.
pizza.
If you need a pizza spot, I got you.
All right,
Hmm.
sweet.
Yeah. But the right question was, you're looking forward to seeing Sweet 15. That was the right question.
No,
That was the
yeah.
right answer.
The
That was
right
the right
answer.
answer. That was the right answer,
I
sorry.
was gonna say that. I was gonna say that.
He didn't want us to get too excited.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to be on our toes.
Yeah. And also because you created the song, there was another person on the track too. Was it Mushi?
Moochie. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mushi. Yeah. So what was like the process of also like creating something with another artist? Like how do y'all kind of like feed off each other's energy and like build up on a song together?
Yeah, well, I've worked with him once before on a song called Time Lapse, and
Mhm.
he put on his because I was with this song. I had the like my verse obviously, and then I had the second verse which was like completely empty, and I was thinking I need someone on this. I don't know who, and then I saw that he put on his story one day. He was like, I'm doing some features today. Like, let me know if you
Mhm.
got something, and I was like, that'd be perfect. Being from a different country and like
Yeah.
the topic it makes sense to get someone from somewhere else, so I hit him up
Mm.
and sent him the song and he liked it, and he got it back to me his verse, and I think it might have been an hour and a half or two
Mhm.
hours like I told him the premise of the song, and he
Yeah.
understood it like very well. He's a great artist, like he knew what he was doing,
Mhm.
and yeah, just sent it through and I was very impressed with it.
Nice. Okay, cool. And so it's so funny when you first reached out to me about your song Passport, I didn't know if you were gonna be a real person or not. I saw the email and because it could have been spam. You never know. You get like spam
Uh,
or spelling stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
no, I get you. Yeah.
I know where
But
this is
then
going.
no, you don't. But I started listening to your songs and I actually really like them. I got the song
Yeah.
Viral and D&D and I was like, oh, this is really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Like we'd love to have him on the podcast. So I'm just curious, like what's
Yeah.
next for you? What are you planning to do next? You're gonna have more songs, you're gonna drop an EP. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I've got a song coming out in February. I haven't announced it yet, but it's coming. And I've I think I counted the other day, I have over 70 unreleased songs that I'm sitting on at the moment, and I
Oh
keep
wow.
on building upon that.
7-0?
But yeah, seven
No,
zero.
there's no way.
Yeah. It's crazy. It does my head in. All I can think about is, what am I releasing? What am I not? What do I have to fix? But I'm working on two EPs, an album, and a mixtape for this year,
Oh my
and maybe more.
goodness.
We'll see what happens. So yeah,
Wow.
Okay, nice.
He's gonna be so
that's an
busy he doesn't
exclusive
have
for you.
ah
This is
oh we got
exclusive.
the
Yeah.
exclusive. We have to run. We have to run to the presses right now. Okay, awesome. And then I have one more question, which you
Yeah,
might hate us for after, but I want to know,
yeah,
have you listened to 5 Seconds of Summer? And if so, what are your thoughts on them?
I have. I actually used to really like them as a kid. Like, funny enough that you say that.
I told her that you were not gonna know who this band was. You're gonna be like, why did she ask this question?
She begged me to remove it. She begged me to remove it from the agenda, but I had to know if you liked them and if you knew them personally. I just needed to know.
I don't know them personally. I probably couldn't name many songs now, but I did used to listen to them like when I was a bit younger. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Just so you
okay.
know, this is a question from the fans. This was just for a friend. So
Of course. It was for a friend. Yeah. I have another
Just a
question
friend.
that you're probably gonna hate us for.
Darn.
But in your in passport, you said that you're working on your accent. Which
Yeah,
accent is it? Is it like the American accent? Is the UK accent? And then you have to
Yeah.
do it. You have to do it for us.
Oh, all right, all right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that line's like more, yeah, American accent, but
American,
I
okay.
don't
You're
really
ready.
have a good one. I'm not gonna lie.
We're
You're
very
working
ready.
on it.
I
You're
don't,
working on it.
yeah, that's true. I don't even know what to say. Like, give me a phrase and then I'll see
Ooh,
what I can.
You can do the New Yorker accent, like I'm walking here.
that's a
I'm
Brooklyn
walking
accent.
here.
Yeah, oh, you got
That's
it.
pretty good. Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I think once you come and visit New York, you'll have a much better interpretation of the accent and like all the
Yeah.
I think
accents.
so.
So we
Yeah.
can't fairly judge him yet.
Oh, Conflikt, it was so lovely having you here. Pretty much every time we close off the episode, we wanna
Yeah.
ask our guests to say the first thing that comes to their mind, but the last thing that they want to leave the listeners with. So we'll give you a few seconds to think about it, and then you could let us know.
Yeah, I know what I want to say.
You know? Okay, okay.
Okay.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. All right. My one like thing I always say to people is just be yourself. Like, nobody can take that away from you. Like, don't try to
Mhm.
be anyone else. Just, indulge in who you are. Try to be a good person and yeah, help others. That's my message.
Oh,
It was
amazing.
beautiful.
And then of course, lastly, you can leave us your tags where people can find you, Instagram,
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok, Spotify.
Yeah, so on Spotify it's Conflikt, Conflikt. On Instagram it's Conflikt with AUS at the end for Australia. And it's also the same on my TikTok as well. So yeah,
So signing off here, this has been Chanel.
This has been Anne Marie.
this has been Conflikt or Jackson, whatever you want to say. And this is Sweet 15.
Yes, thank you for joining us in Sweet 15.
The recording has stopped.